I hope you enjoyed that introduction. I've been really inspired by a couple of YouTube creators, so expect to see more of that in my videos in the future. I'd really love it if you could subscribe and like this video, as it really helps. So in this video, I'm gonna go over my experience juggling 5 balls and going from pretty much no experience, then being able to do this at the end of the 30 days. Yes. So on day 1 of the 30-day challenge, I made a video and this is how it went. So you can see that I made 5, 8, and 3 catches on day 1, which isn't the worst thing ever, but it definitely needs some improvement. Now I had 2 main goals for this challenge. The first one was to qualify juggling 5 balls, and that just means essentially catch twice as many balls as you have. So for 5 balls, I needed to catch 10 times in a row. The second goal was to be able to juggle 5 balls well, and by that I mean multiple throws and regularly. So I started to research how to juggle 5 balls, and this was on day 1. And I came across this website that showed you all the different kind of techniques and a couple of the things I had no idea about, like site swap and the site swap patterns. And essentially means based on the height of the ball, you can chuck in a couple of patterns, and with these patterns, it helps you juggle 5 balls. But after trying these out for the whole 30 days, I could never even pick up the most simplest one. It seemed like it was much too challenging. So what I did instead was just think about what I really need to know to juggle 5 balls. And essentially it boils down to 2 things. It's 1, being able to throw it at the right height, because when you juggle 5 balls compared to 3 balls, you have to throw it higher, otherwise you'll go really fast. And the second was throw accuracy. So the higher I throw it, the more accurate I need to be to have it land in my hand where I want it to go. Now I did most of my juggling in my room next to my bed, and this is one of the best tips I can give anyone trying to practice a juggle. If you juggle next to a surface, when you drop it, you don't have to reach down as far to the ground. And most days of this challenge, I would go outside to practice, especially the throw height, and I'd purposely chuck it higher than I needed to build the accuracy, as if I do it in-house, it could easily hit the roof. Now after 5 days of juggling for 20-30 minutes a day, I managed to qualify 5 balls, which was one of my goals at the start, and this is how it went. Now this was a huge milestone, and I got this earlier than I expected, considering my first attempts were pretty bad. So now that I qualified 5 balls and essentially hit my number 1 goal, the rest of the challenge I would spend making sure my skills were better. Now throughout this challenge, there were a couple of things that I noticed that I kept doing wrong that usually messed up my juggling with 5 balls. These were the balls hitting midair, throwing the balls at too much of an angle to make sure they don't hit midair, my throw times sometimes being off, so sometimes I would throw it too fast or too slow at the very beginning, which made it really hard to juggle properly after the first couple of throws. And lastly, my left arm throws weren't as high or consistent as my right arm throws, and so that really threw off the way that I juggled. And over the 30 days, I did a lot of live streaming on Facebook, Instagram, to really see my technique and to see whether I was throwing them properly. So after juggling for about 15-20 days, I've started to pick up a couple of things that I found were the most helpful for me. First of all, to just practice throwing 2 balls, but at a higher height, and getting comfortable with throwing the 2. The other was just by juggling 3 balls higher. And with this, there was a couple of techniques that I picked up by watching a couple of videos. either when you're throwing the 3 balls, holding onto the ball longer at the bottom, and then throwing it just before you catch it. And then other than that was throwing it quickly out of your hand. And this really helped to train the movement of 5-ball juggling. The other was simply just doing 4-ball flash, which essentially is you throw all the balls up individually and catch them all again. And I found this really helped to solidify the kind of movement I needed. And the other thing I did with 4 balls was something that I called ghosting. And essentially it's pretty much like you were juggling 5 balls, but take one of the balls out. So you throw 4 times and then you use your hand without a ball in to make that fake throw. And it makes it feel like you are juggling 5, but giving you a little bit of extra time between throws for you to adjust. And lastly, one of the best things I found throughout was doing 5-ball flashes. The same as 4 balls, you throw 5, one at a time, and then catch all of them. And so when I made 5 successful throws of 5 balls, then I'd move on to 6 throws. And then I'd do 5 of them, and then I'd build to 7. And this really helped when I got to the higher levels of 8, 9, and 10 throws. It made sure that I got the correct movement and patterns at the earlier levels before I moved on to higher throws. So with all that in mind, I went through this 30-day challenge, practicing whenever I could and for lots of small intervals at a time. Then on day 30, I retook the juggling test, and this is what happened. Oh, that was pretty good. Oh, that was probably the best I've ever juggled 5 balls to this whole challenge. Yes. So after only 30 days of juggling every day, I went from 5, 8, and 3 catches to 25, 26, and 28 catches. And I think that was quite good. And I would say that I was successful in completing my goal number 2, which was being able to juggle 5 balls well and for a long period of time. This really just shows you how much you can improve on something just by doing a small amount each day, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. So that was my 30-day experience juggling 5 balls. I really hope you enjoyed that and perhaps inspired you to pick up some juggling balls and try it for yourself. Next thing I want to really look into is juggling with clubs. Now, I haven't ever juggled with clubs before, so it's really much more of a challenge for me. And so if you have any suggestions on which one do you like to use or where's the best place to get them from, I'd love to know. So just let me know in the comments below. If you have any cool ideas that you'd like to see me try or that you want to try and you want an accountability buddy with you, I'd love to know it. And maybe we can get this cool challenge going together. A little bit of a side note is with my Nathan Challenges Life, I record my goals every month. And what I've done is developed a Patreon page to create this accountability group to help you achieve your goals or set them if you need to set them. I've linked this page in the description below. I'd love for you to check it out and see if that's something that you would like. So that's all for now. See you in the next video. I'll be working on a couple of things in the meantime, so there'll be a video coming out very soon. See you then.